Is America okay? I mean, we have a state called Oklahoma which is okay when abbreviated but otherwise no. Day to day it's actually still pretty much business as usual. It's not like it's been an overnight turn to bad. It's happened so slow that it is hardly noticeable. But everyone is still waking up, going to work, and paying the rent. Neil deGrasse Tyson said something that stuck with me. Basically that America will slowly decline because of the lack of education, research, importance of knowledge. We're not great. Thanks for checking in. There's this hyper-concentration on Reddit of people who think the US is the only country that has major problems both economy and society-wise. In Japan, where I live, inflation is hurting the economy. Arguably worse than the US. Gas is expensive, and in cities housing is getting more expensive. We might not have the same problems with guns the US has. But issues like declining birth rates, increasing rates of depression amongst youth, and a global recession are all problems the country faces. America is not okay. But neither are most other countries to varying extents. I'm just glad we're not Sri Lanka or Russia. As Sam Elliott would say, far from it, dude. Send help. Bruh. Don't ask if we're okay. We hurt. I picked a weird century to quit drinking. No for those paying attention. Yes for those who aren't. And those who aren't are probably outnumbering the rest. America is so deep into tribalism that things like integrity mean nothing anymore. From politicians or their fans.
No.
If you're rich, it's amazing! Exclamation mark. You can buy any politician you like. A depends on which part you're in and who you ask. Also, you're asking on Reddit. A lot of it hates America. Our freedoms are slowly being chipped away. Women are in trouble. If you read what these states are requiring for abortions, women are going to die. They're trying to make recording the police illegal so they can go back to beating and killing people of color without consequence. People can't afford to find a place to live. Everyone already knows our healthcare system and insurance is a joke. I could go on. It's like helplessly watching your country turn fascist. That being said, I do realize we still have it a lot better than other countries. Just feels like something big is ramping up here. SCROTUS is poking a bear. Our day-to-day lives in many parts of the country are still pretty much the same. Blue states. But I will say it's getting pretty scary. I'm extremely scared because of a case SCOTUS is hearing next year. Moore v. Harper, that could allow states to disregard the people's votes. I'm legit really afraid that our democracy is going to crumble. I was still optimistic about this country's future even after Roe v. Wade was struck down. Not that I agree with the decision. Even more turbulent times ahead for America. The US has had fractious politics since the very beginning. We did fight a civil war with hundreds of thousands of deaths. My personal opinion is that the US is no more or no less internally combative than it ever has been. With two caveats. 1. Our two political parties have used wedge issues to very efficiently separate voters into two opposing camps, with not much overlap. And one of them fears a decline in popular support. So it is using every legal and probably some illegal mechanisms to win elections. And 2. Our news media takes every little disagreement of the day and magnifies it and blasts it out over the airwaves with a nuclear megaphone, which makes the normal process of governance seem like Armageddon. But cheating to win elections is nothing new in American politics. I remember fondly the Democratic machine in Chicago under Mayor Daley from 1955 to 76 or so, a well-oiled vote manufacturing machine. We Americans tend to be geographically confused and historically vague, and forget the past when convenient. Our biggest problem, IMHO, is economic. We had a very good run in the 1950s and 1960s. But in the later 1970s, things began to fray at the edges. Most of the rest of the industrialized world, during those halcyon days, was either bombed during WW2 or under the thrall of a too strict communist economic system, and the US simply had few competitors. Now we have many competitors, and lower cost of living overseas manufacturing centers have hollowed out the American manufacturing sector, which once was the main driver of a good middle-class lifestyle. And, as usual, many Americans don't understand how this process played out, and believe that somehow it was faulty American political leadership that allowed the decline in the standard of living, when it was geo-economic forces beyond the control of any one nation. This progressing economic hardship is a hard pill to swallow, and may underlie at least some of the political rancor, misunderstanding the causes leads to desire for bad public policies that will not fix and may exacerbate the underlying problems. So fun times ahead. If that one bill passes where states can refute a presidential election, then I would say we are never going to be okay again. It's not as bad as Reddit would have you believe. Negative news is always louder. We have a party that thinks the best government is a religious-centric white ethno-state. And while they are not the majority, have figured out how to technically wield more power than the majority. They are also of a rules-based, rather than intent-based, ideal of interpretation of the Constitution. They want to believe the Constitution can be interpreted to justify any horrible thing that some small groups want, while forgetting that it was intended to protect individual freedoms. So no. I recommend that bordering countries invest in wall building and checkpoints. Don't let this ideology deep into your country. No. There are 5 unelected theocrats in charge ready to reinterpret the Constitution and established legal precedent that are aligned with a cabal of politicians hell-bent on transforming the USA into an extreme religious state. No. Send help.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.